What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be taking a look at this. This is the King James Version, KJV, Thinline, large print, vintage series Bible. This is a fantastic resource to have in your library. It's just fun to read the King James Version Bible sometimes. If you're new here, my name is Steve. While you're here, you're going to be encouraged and equipped to be the Christian you claim to be. We're going to do that by going through scripture and solid tools and resources to help make your day-to-day better and more Christ-focused. If that sounds like something you're interested in, hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. All right, so this is the KJV, the King James Version Vintage Series, large print, Thinline. I know that's a mouthful. This is put out by Thomas Nelson, and this one is a burgundy leather soft edition. This is really nice. Again, this is vintage series, and we're going to get a little bit up close and personal as much as we can with some of this tooling here that I really like. Real quick before we get into it, I think that everybody that is a Christian should have a King James Version Bible. Now, I'm not saying that you're not one if you don't have one. I kind of like it because there's a lot of history, and I think it's fun to read through because a lot of our grandparents grew up reading the King James Version Bible, and it's just fun to read. And this would be a fantastic addition to your library. In the middle, I'm going to read you a passage from Psalms that I just think is really pretty to show you what you get with the King James Version Bible. So it comes with this slipcover. Again, this is the KJV large print, Thinline. Get a little bit of information there. Words of Christ are in red. There are some satin ribbons. This is the burgundy leather soft edition. And let's get a shot of that ISBN for you. So it retails for $29.99. Oh, having some focusing issues. Sorry. It retails for $29.99, but you know what? You can find them on sale for less expensive than that. Sometimes even $15 or $20. So we'll put links down in the description. And let's take a look at the outside. These slip covers, they're okay. I suppose if you wanted to use it to carry your Bible around in, you could. But in reality, I don't use them very often. All right, so it's burgundy, and this is really super pretty. We got gold art gilding on the outside here. You do notice for a Thinline Bible, they gave us 2 ribbons. I have been noticing, because you guys know I'm a ribbon guy, that we've been getting more than just one on a lot of Bibles that I've been reviewing, and I am super thankful for that. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I like the more ribbons, the better. So I mentioned this earlier. Let me see how close I can get. A little bit of glare there. I apologize. But this tooling here around the edges is really super pretty. Okay, you have it all over. I'm trying to get as close as I can get. But it's like stamped in. I don't know if tooling's the right word. Those of you leather workers can correct me. But it's stamped in and it's really pretty. You even have some perimeter stitching around the outside. So this is just a really nice looking Bible. Vintage series, right? Looks like maybe it would have back in the day. And I'm not going to lie, this gold, it's really pretty. It stands out very nicely, especially against the burgundy. I know there are a couple of different covers. They do have black, brown, tan, and burgundy. So on the spine, again, these are like tooled in there. They're like stamped in. It's not, and then we have gold with Holy Bible, King James Version, and the Thomas Nelson logo. So let's take a look at the inside. So you have a nice presentation page. Interestingly enough, I read a thread just like yesterday on a group that I'm a part of that has to do with Bibles that the people were kind of saying to not fill this presentation page out. Well, you're going to get something different here. Fill this out on every Bible that you own. I don't care if you write in it or you don't write in it. Fill out the presentation page. Bibles, if you collect them, great. I personally don't feel that you should be collecting them to buy and sell. Maybe that's going to lose me some viewers, but it doesn't matter. This is about quality resources, and if you're not using it, if it's just sitting on your shelf, it's not a resource. And then 100 years from now, your family is going to want to know who owned that Bible, what your kids were, what their birthdays were. And I know that because I have a couple of Bibles that are over 100 years old, and I really wish they had more presentation page in it. So fill that out. Oh, it is before we get too far, it is a paste down liner. I have very few Bibles that, if you buy a premium Bible, it will be, it's going to be something different than it'll be tabbed into the block. But paste down, I don't have trouble with it. Again, I've had Bibles similar to this for 10, 20 years and not really had too much of a problem. You get a really basic, I don't even know what to call it. It's some of the legal information, kind of the back of the title page, but really basic. It's printed in China, copyright 2016 by Thomas Nelson. And you do get right there in nice big bold black and white, this Bible was set in Thomas Nelson KJV typeface by 2K Denmark. A lot of the Bibles I've been taking a look at lately, 2K Denmark is doing the typeface, is doing the layout and the font, and I am super thrilled about that because I like the work that they do. I think that they do a really good job of laying out a good solid Bible. And in the very beginning, you're going to get it's kind of like an intro to the KJV. This is not a typical intro. What I mean by that is let's say a standard, in a standard Bible, there's always some sort of an intro that gives you some sort of glimpse into the translation philosophy, why we translated things this way or that way, which words were different, that kind of thing. That's not exactly what this is. This is a cool little, it's in every official King James Version Bible, but it's just kind of like a why we did this Bible and how and what our, kind of what the thought process was behind that. And again, the King James Version Bible, while I don't read it regularly, this is not a regular study Bible for me. It's still a very adequate tool for getting the job done of studying and reading and being in God's Word. And so being familiar with some of these things is a good idea. And then you're going to get a real basic table of contents. So again, the 66 books of the canon, and there's two very short, a reading plan in the back that we'll take a look at. All right, so let's flip open just a little ways here. And we'll show you what the beginning of a book looks like. I didn't personally notice, although I have flipped every single page in this Bible at least once. I didn't notice if every book started on a new page, but I believe that it does just because of this. If it didn't, it would be full there. And I really like when they started on a new page. So the paper's on the thin side, but you know what? It's a Thinline Bible. So that doesn't bother me. It's not so thin that I worry. I have Bibles that, man, if I did that, the page might tear, because it's so thin. This doesn't have that problem for me. My one constructive criticism, and this is a good place to look, a place like Exodus. So take a look at that. And my one constructive criticism, it feels like there's a whole lot of words on this page. The columns are nice and wide because you'll notice there is no reference suite and there are no footnotes. Maybe that's what's causing somewhat of an issue for me, because usually these are broken up a little bit more and there just is a whole lot of words on these pages. Now, again, that's not a problem for me. It still is very pleasant to read. I'm just telling you what I see when I open it. Is it feels like there's a whole lot where maybe they could have given us a little bit more margin space or a little bit more space between the columns. That's all. It is line matched, and I say this every video. I do my best to show you guys what some of that means, and I'll flip open to my section here. You can see right there. See how the line behind it is exactly the same as the line in front of it? That just makes for a little bit more pleasant reading because there's not as much ghosting. That's all the stuff that's the ghosting would be that. The lines that are showing through in the back. So this is a great big old fat 11.5 font, and it is big. I have told you guys the last probably 6 months or so, I've started reading bigger and bigger font Bibles just because it's easier on my eyes. Other than being colorblind, my eyes work really good. I don't need glasses or anything like that. But if you did and you need a larger font Bible and you like the KJV, this is going to be a fantastic option for you. It is verse-by-verse format, and there is no poetic setting. So here is my proof. I usually open up to which book? Leave it in the comments. I usually open up to Isaiah or Jeremiah because it gives you both right next to each other. Well, here we are in Psalms. right? So you know that if there is a poetic setting, it's going to be here in Psalms. And as you'll notice here, there is no poetic setting. It still goes verse by verse. But if that bothers you to not see it kind of a little different and in the middle and a little smaller, just something to know. It doesn't bother me at all. It's nice in books like Isaiah and Jeremiah because you can kind of, it's a little bit easier for my brain to track, the parts of the text because they flip-flop back and forth so much. Obviously, we know in Psalms it's all poetry, right? There are no real words no real room for writing. You get about a half an inch here, and I'll measure it at the very end when I flip it closed because I forgot at the beginning. Yeah, you get about a half an inch, but that's not much if you're a copious writer. That being said, there's plenty of room for highlighting and underlining. It is a, there we go, red letter text. So let me lift it up a little bit higher for you guys. And I want to mention this to you, and I talk about this from time to time with red letter. First of all, for me, the red letter doesn't pop. And what I mean by that is just the color of red that they chose doesn't stand out enough for me, but I am colorblind. The reason that I mention that is because if you have trouble, I have talked to people in the past because I ask these questions and people respond, and I really appreciate that. Hey, why do you like black letter only? And people have told me, I like black letter because sometimes the red and the black letter together kind of tweak my brain. Like it makes it harder, it makes it really hard to see and does something to my eyes so they can only read black letter text. Well, I mention all that to say that not all red letters are created equal. Some red letters stand out a little bit more, some a little bit less. And this is one of those that for me, I probably would prefer it black letter because the red that they chose just doesn't stand out enough for me. But let me know. I'm going to pass the question off to you all that are actually watching this video. Leave me down in the comments if through the video you can see the difference. Because I'm curious as to what you have to say. I know through the video it's always a little funny. So let me flip open to the back, and as we do, let me ask you, do me a favor, if you're getting value out of this video, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up, and let's keep on going here. We're almost done. This is a great Bible. I'm super excited to be showing it to you guys because it is vintage looking. I love sitting down and reading like this, and I have a couple of Bibles, like I said, that are over 100 years old, and although they're falling apart more than this reminds me of that. So in the very back, you do get like one page. I suppose you could take some notes. And you get a 1-year reading plan. This is designed to work January through December, like you see. But I'll lift it up a little closer and show you how it's broken down. So really you could start anywhere because let's just say you wanted to start on March 19th. Start on March 19th and just work your way through it. And you'll just circle back around. I don't think that you'd be doing yourself a great disservice. That being said, if you do start on January 1st and actually want to do a whole 1 year, you start at Matthew and Genesis, and that can be very advantageous to understanding the Bible. We do get there it is, a 30 Days with Jesus, and these are just a bunch of verses that they're highlighting that you could spend in kind of some, I'm going to call it devotional time with Jesus. They're all obviously out of the Gospels. And we get 2K Denmark's note here on their typeface. Like I was saying, I really like 2K Denmark. And the maps. I've stopped commenting as much on the maps because, man, every Bible that I have reviewed lately, the maps are pretty high quality. The paper is not too thick. Bible paper is always the best, in my opinion, for me. But this is, even though that it's like thicker, it's cardstock. Technically, it's just thicker paper. It's not really hard. And the colors really stand out. I think, especially from when I was a kid, that they've done a really good job of changing the color schemes and making them work together. I mention that because I really like maps. I have a couple of books of just like maps and timelines and stuff like that. Because while I'm reading through, this kind of stuff helps me out a lot. And if I really have to struggle, like on this page right here, Jesus's ministry, if I got to struggle to see all these lines where he was and read what's happening here, it doesn't really work for me that well. And it's a bummer because I get a lot out of this. So just know that the maps are very nice, high quality maps. if that's something that appeals to you. All right, so of course I will leave links down in the description for all the stuff that I've mentioned and link to Thomas Nelson. I want to say thank you to Thomas Nelson for sending me this so I can review it for you guys, show you what quality tools and resources are out there. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them with the information that I have. Hey, thank you guys all for watching today. I hope that I've earned the privilege of your time. Make sure you stay tuned because in the next couple of days, I have the NIV Grace and Truth Study Bible Review coming out. And there may or may not be another live stream. We're still kind of trying to figure that all out. Again, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you and pray for you often. Don't forget, be who you claim to be.